जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानन्दना जय व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनाधीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जबिहारी जय राधमाधवा जय कुञ्जबिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय राधा माधव राधे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय प्रहलाद नृसिंह जय प्रहलाद नृसिंह जय प्रहलाद नृसिंह जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की। Hi, Gaur Premanande. So, readings from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, further enquiries by Vidura. Today we will see text 5. So, before going to the text, let us chant the auspicious invocation prayers. I will chant, please try to repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpatarorgalitam phalam Sukamukat amrita dravasamyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvibhavkaha Narayanam namaskritya Naranchaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Deśataḥ kālato yosau Deśataḥ kālato yosau avasthātaḥ svato nyataḥ avasthātaḥ svato nyataḥ aviluptāvabodhātmā aviluptāvabodhātmā yujyetājayā katham yujyetājayā katham deśataḥ kālato asau avasthātaḥ nyataḥ aviluptāvabodhātmā yujyetājayā katham deśataḥ kālo yosau avasthātaḥ nyataḥ aviluptāvabodhātmā yujyetājayā katham deśataḥ kālato yosau avasthātaḥ svato nyataḥ aviluptāvabodhātmā yujyetājayā katham. Matajis. Anyone willing to read? Okay. Deśataḥ circumstantial. Kālatāḥ by the influence of time. Vyaha one who. Asau the living entity. Avasthātaḥ by situation. Svataḥ by dream. Anyataḥ by others. Avilupta extinct. Avabodha consciousness. Ātmā pure self. Saha he. Yujyeta engaged. Ajayā with nescience. Katham how it is so. Translation by His Divine Grace of Bhaktivedanta Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, please try to repeat. The pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nescience? Purport. The consciousness of the living being is always present and never changes under any circumstance as mentioned above. When a living man moves from one place to another, he is conscious that he has changed his position. He is always present in past, present, and future like electricity. One can remember incidents from his past and can conjecture about his future also on the basis of past experience. He never forgets his personal identity, even though he is placed in awkward circumstances. How then can the living entity become forgetful of his real identity as pure spirit soul, identifying with matter, unless influenced by something beyond himself? The conclusion is that living entity is influenced by the avidya potency, as confirmed both in Viṣṇu Purāṇa and the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The living entity is mentioned in Bhagavad-gītā 7.5 as para prakriti, and in Viṣṇu Purāṇa he is mentioned as the para shakti. He is the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord as potency, not as the potent. The potent can exhibit many potencies, but the potency cannot be equal to the potent at any stage. One potency may overcome another potency, but to the potent, all potencies are under control. The jiva potency or the kṣetrajña-śakti of the Lord has the tendency to be overpowered by external potency, avidyā-karma-saṁjñā. And this way, he is placed under awkward circumstance of material existence. The living entity cannot be forgetful of his real identity unless influenced by avidya potency. Because the living entity is prone to the influence of avidya potency, he is never equal to the supreme potent. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Viṣṇu Pādāya Krishna Prasthāya Bhūtale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paśyaitya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangalangayate Grim, Kripatamaham Mande, Shigrum Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram, Kathanchana Smrite Yasmin, Dushkaram Sukaram Bhave, Tvismrite Vipritam Syat, Sri Chaitanyam Namamitam. Namo Viṣṇu Padāya Krishna Prasthāya Bhūtale, Śrīmate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine, Nama Acharya Padāya Nitai Kripa Pradayine, Gaurakata Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine. Hare Krishna. So, we are in a very interesting portion of Vidura Maitreya Samvad. In Bhagavatam, there are many defining conversations. And Vidura Maitreya Samvad is one of them. It's a very defining conversation because in this conversation, lot of things get defined. Especially in this particular conversation in the beginning of 7th chapter. It's a very important conversation because lot of definitions are going on. So when Vidura approached Maitreya, even though he was supposed to ask Maitreya about the specific message which Krishna had left for him, which Uddhava told him that Krishna has left some message for you. But Vidura never asked that directly. Rather, he asked a question which is a common question. He said, oh, people in this world, they are trying to find happiness but they are simply getting distress. And they try to rectify the distressful situation, they are unable to find remedy for that also. How can we solve this problem? He asked this question to Maitreya. And in reply to this question, Maitreya started explaining the creative process. Why did he start explaining the creative process? Because the answer to this question lies in the creative process. Why Lord creates? Everybody has their own idea of why Lord creates. The scientists have their idea of creation. The spiritualists have their idea of creation. So different people have their idea of creation. So Bhagavatam is also explaining why the Lord creates. But what is the difference between Bhagavatam's explanation and other people's explanation? Bhagavatam's explanation is a defining explanation. It reconciles everything. So therefore, Bhagavatam's explanation of creation is very important. So as he explains the creation, he explained how the elements were formed, and he explained how the demigods were formed, and then he explained the demigods, how they were not able to act. So then the demigod offered wonderful prayers to the Lord. Then the Lord actually entered the creation with Kala-shakti, and then he made the creation happen. The whole Virat Roop manifested, and in the Virat Roop, all the facilities for the creation manifested. As Maitreya kept explaining this, Maitreya became overwhelmed with fine emotions for the Lord. Because how much Krishna does for the conditioned soul, what kind of facility he creates for the conditioned soul, and what all Krishna does to bring the conditioned soul back to Godhead, and how much he acts in a merciful manner, all this he was reflecting while he was explaining the Virat Rupa. Sometimes as devotees, we fail to appreciate Virat Rupa. We think, Virat Rupa is for Mayavadis. Yeah, it is true also that Virat Rupa is for Mayavadis. But we also have to appreciate Virat Rupa, because Virat Rupa is what we are dealing with day to day. You are sitting on the Virat Rupa. You are sitting on the Virat Rupa. Padbhyam bhumis dishashrotrat. In Purusha Sukta it is said that the feet of the Virat Rupa is the bhumi, and you are sitting in bhumi, you are sitting at the feet of Virat Rupa. Brahmano se mukam asit. You are getting different services from the Brahmanas. Bahu rajanya kritaha, you are being ruled by different rulers. They are the hands of Virat Rupa. And so many things we are getting for our existence. Uru tadasa yad vaishyaha, the Vaishyas are the thigh of the Virat Rupa. They are doing business, that's why we are getting so many things. Then it's also explanation that the rivers are the veins of the Virat Rupa. So without river, there is no civilization. In history, even modern historians, they actually study civilization in terms of river basis. They say that Indus Valley civilization, then they say Nile civilization, then they say civilization with Yellow River in China. So every civilization is studied according to the river which flows in that area. Euphrates and Tigris civilization, which was in previous Iraq. So rivers are it's an inevitable part of the human civilizational development, and those rivers are simply veins of Virat Rupa. The mountains are the bones of Virat Rupa. Everybody wants to go to the mountain. Everybody wants to take advantage of the mountain. So same way, the fruits and vegetables, the trees and the plants which is growing the fruits and vegetables, they are the bodily hair of the Virat Rupa. Every day we get wonderful vegetables, fruits, we cook and we eat. It's simply bodily hair of the Virat Rupa. Because Virat Rupa is what we are actually dealing with every day. Krishna becomes practical to us in the form of Virat Rupa. That's why it is said that Yajnena yajna mayajanta deva tani dharmani pradhamanyasan. So there is nice glorification of the Virat Rupa in terms of how Krishna is the provider. So therefore, as Maitreya explains Virat Rupa, it is natural for him to be carried away by the fine emotions for Krishna. He is thinking, oh, how much Krishna is doing for the conditioned soul. This stupid fellow conditioned soul, he has forgotten Krishna. He is not even caring for Krishna, and Krishna simply keeps giving. What kind of love is this? What kind of love Krishna is having for conditioned soul? He cannot fathom this love. So therefore, naturally, he stops his explanation of Virat Rupa and he starts praying to Krishna. That's why in the end of previous chapter, you see Maitreya's prayers. Because he can't control himself. Oh, Krishna, you can do so much. Simply hearing your activities is the purpose of human life. Katha sudhayam, he said that upasam prayogam, katha sudhayam upasam prayogam. In nectar. This explanation is nectar. And if one is able to drink, panena, if one is able to drink this nectar through the ear holes, there is a difference between hearing and drinking. You hear, that means only sound goes. When you drink, the taste also comes. There is a difference between hearing and drinking. You're not supposed to hear Bhagavatam, you're supposed to drink Bhagavatam. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalaya. Supposed to drink. So he's thinking, if we simply drink, and what kind of drink? Sudhaya. This is nectar, man. This is nectar. It can give you immortality. Everybody is running here and there. How I will not die, how I will not die. Now here is the solution for not dying. Simply drink Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. You will not die. Katha sudhayam upasam prayogam. Wonderful prayers he offered. Very heartfelt prayers. Very sweet prayers he offered. Prayers of reflection of love he offered. Then Vidura is very intelligent inquirer. Immediately he caught this opportunity. And then he asked some stunning questions to Maitreya. Immediately he understood, oh, Maitreya is so much overwhelmed by Krishna's love. This is the time to ask him some questions which are very critical in nature. So therefore, he chose to ask some stunning questions to Maitreya. And those questions deal in broad categories of the nature of the Lord, the nature of Jiva, and the relationship between the Lord and Jiva. So, the first question he asked was, Brahman katham bhagavatas chinmatrasya vikarinaha lilaya chapyujyeran nirgunasya gunakriyaha. So, in this he asked two questions. If the Lord is chinmatra, is purely spiritual, and avikarinaha, without change, then how come material energy can come from him? Very simple question. If you have a bar of pure gold, how can iron come from that bar? Can it come? Iron can come from that bar. If you have a pure gold. So if you can extract iron from that bar, what does it mean? That bar is contaminated. It's not pure gold. Right? If you can have a metallic bar of gold, and if you are able to extract iron from it, naturally that gold bar is contaminated with iron. That is why iron you can extract from it. So if Krishna is purely spiritual, how come material energy can come from him? The presence of material energy is a contaminating factor. So Krishna is not purely spiritual. This argument can be given. Because if Krishna is unchanging, how can activities which cause change come from an unchanging personality? The nature of Krishna is unchanging. So whatever comes from him also should actually fit with that nature. So either Krishna doesn't exist, or if he exists, he is a product of Maya. Because the contamination of Maya is there in him. It's clear? First question. Now he asks second question. Leelaya chapyujyeran nirgunasya gunakriyaha. Hey, no, this is all Leela. Okay, sir. If this is Leela, how come activities which are manifested normally by the influence of modes of material nature or manifested by this person who is supposed to be beyond the modes of material nature? Somebody is born, somebody dies, somebody cries, somebody becomes angry, somebody fights, somebody laughs, somebody loves, somebody hates. All these activities are done by modes of material nature. Prakriti kriyamana nigune karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. So Krishna is born, Krishna grows, Krishna likes, Krishna cries, Krishna is afraid, Krishna fights, Krishna becomes angry, Krishna chastises, Krishna kills. Krishna does everything. So, these are activities which are normally exhibited by modes of material nature. So, if Krishna is also exhibiting these activities, then how can he be called as Nirguna? How can his activity be called as Leela? If you call his activities are Leela, then my activity is also Leela. Because he is doing Leela, I am also doing Leela. And dog is also doing Leela, cat is also doing Leela, pig is also doing Leela. Dog is doing dog Leela, cat is doing cat Leela, pig is doing pig Leela, I am doing my Leela, Krishna is doing Krishna Leela. Correct? Stunning questions he asked. That's why I said stunning questions. And then he went on to ask one more question. Kridaya mudamyorvasya kamas chikridasyantaha svatasthritasya katham nivrittasya tadanyataḥ. So he continues the theme of Leela. If you say it is Leela, by experience of this material world, we can simply understand that activity is a symptom of deficiency. Very simple, it's not very complicated philosophy. You act because you are deficient. I'll give you a simple example. I took water, I drank it. Why? Because I need water to clear my throat. I cannot clear my throat on my own. I am dependent on water to clear my throat. So, I have to reach where the water is and I should drink it. Activity is a symptom of deficiency. If you are deficient, you act. If you are not deficient, you don't act. That's it, as simple as that. If you are self-satisfied, why will you act? The very fact that somebody is acting is a symptom of deficiency. And Maitreya also said that the Lord felt deficient in the absence of the activity of his external energy, like a sleeping wife. So therefore, he wanted to wake her up and then take advantage of her. Either you accept that Krishna is in Maya, or you accept that there is no Krishna. But you cannot say that Krishna is not in Maya and still he is acting. Because activity is a symptom of deficiency. And Krishna is acting, so he is deficient. Right? Second question. Okay. Now he came to third question. Asrakshit Bhagavan Vishwam Gunamaya-ātmā Maya Taya Samprastapyati Etat Bhuya Pratyapi Dasyati. Okay. The Lord creates, he maintains, and then he destroys. Mahavishnu creates, he maintains, and then he destroys. Very good. According to everybody's karma and qualification, everybody has got a certain body which is big or small. Ant has this much body, elephant has this much body. Right? Ant has got a body according to his karma and qualification. According to that body, he has got a certain size. And with that size, he is able to do a certain activity. Elephant has got a body which is very big, and he has certain karma, he has certain qualification. He is able to do some activities according to his size. Same way, Mahavishnu has got a big body because he has a certain activity, he has a certain qualification, and then in order to exhibit that activity and that qualification, he has a size of a certain size of a body. Right? I have a body of certain size because I have to exhibit certain type of activities. Now you have a body of certain size because you have to exhibit certain type of activities. So Mahavishnu has to exhibit certain type of activities, so therefore he has a certain type of body, certain height, certain size, certain breadth, certain width, and certain life. What is so great in that? Yeah? Third question. Now he came to the fourth question. Deśataḥ kālato yosau avasthātaḥ svato nyataḥ aviluptāvabodhātmā sa yujyetājayā katham. If you accept that ātmā is Chinmaya, how can he fall into Maya? Because he is always conscious. We are all conscious. So how can a conscious jiva fall into Maya? How can he fall into Maya? The only conclusion is there is nothing called Maya. Jagat Mithya. It only exists in imagination. Only exists in imagination. Jagat Mithya. The only truth is Brahman, and the rest of explanation is just Mithya. It just only exists in imagination. Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Of course, you will ask one more question. In order to fortify this concept of non-existence of Maya and non-existence of Krishna, what is his next question? His next question is, if you say, no, Krishna exists and he supervises, then Krishna is either incompetent supervisor or he doesn't exist. Because under competent supervision, then the person who is being supervised should not suffer. And we see that the soul is suffering. So either Krishna doesn't exist or he is incompetent. Means that he is not supreme. That's the next question he will ask. So this way he asked defining questions about the presence or absence, existence or inexistence of Krishna. The existence of difference between Krishna and the jiva, and the relationship between Krishna and jiva. So why did he ask these questions? Because he wanted to utilize the fine sentiments of Maitreya, which he offered in his prayers, to conclusively answer to the Mayavadis and the other schools of thought in Vedic system. The Vedic system has 6 schools of thought. There are 6 darshanas, the 6 schools of thought. The Mimamsa, which is Purva Mimamsa, sometimes called Mimamsa, sometimes called Purva Mimamsa, or preliminary conclusions. Then Vedanta Sutra, sometimes called Uttara Mimamsa also. Then there is Nyaya and Vaisheshika and Sankhya and Yoga. So these are the 6 schools of Vedic thought. In these 6 schools of Vedic thought, the only school of Vedic thought which actually accepts presence of Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vedanta Sutra. Balance 5 schools don't accept presence of a God who is supremely powerful. They simply accept God at transactional level. At transactional level. They don't accept presence of a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even for Vedanta Sutra, Shankaracharya came and he wrote one bhashya, Sharika bhashya, and he interpreted Vedanta Sutra in such a way to explain that there is nothing called God. This creation is a random event. It exists in imagination only. There is nothing called God's mercy. All this idea of praying to God, bhakti, God's mercy, all these things are only vyavaharika. They are only transactional in nature. They are not absolute in nature. The absolute is simply Brahman. So he interpreted the whole Vedanta Sutra in that way, and then he gave a whole explanation to Vedanta Sutra. Of course, later the Vaishnava Acharyas came from Madhva, from Ramanuja to Madhva to others, and each of them, they actually utilized the same formula, Prasthana Trayi, the same formula which Shankaracharya utilized to destroy the conception of Lord. They utilized the same formula to establish the conception of Lord. So from Shankaracharya's time, Prasthana Trayi became a standard to establish a certain philosophy in Vedic system. Prabhupada also follows the same system. That's why he commented on Ishopanishad, he commented on Bhagavad-gītā, and he commented on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is for us the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita especially, extensively Prabhupada commented on Vedanta Sutra. Extensive commentaries on Vedanta Sutra in the purports of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, this way Prabhupada also followed the tradition. So the purpose of Vidura is to establish without any doubt the existence of Lord, to establish without any doubt that creation is Lord's mercy, and to establish without any doubt that the Jiva is always dependent on Krishna. And Krishna is the well-wisher of Jiva. That is his purpose. So he asked these questions for that purpose only. Therefore, he did not ask these questions in a challenging manner. He asked these questions in a pleasing manner, which is what explained in the beginning. It's a very important shloka in the beginning, the first shloka. So he explained, he asked these questions. Vidura expressed a request in pleasing manner by asking this question. So his questions were expressed in a pleasing manner. They were not expressed in a challenging manner. He wanted to clarify these things. Of course, the nature of question is so explosive that Prabhupada does not wait for Maitreya to answer those questions. He cannot, see, the nature of Vaishnava Acharya is that he simply cannot control himself when someone says there is no Krishna or Krishna is deficient or Krishna is like that. He cannot control himself. Immediately he has to answer that question. Immediately he has to reply. Immediately he has to refute. The nature of question is so explosive that Prabhupada does not wait for Maitreya to answer the question. He simply blasts the answers. The same purport as my Vidura is asking those questions, Prabhupada actually destroys those questions in his same purports. Okay. So this is the mood of Vaishnava Acharyas because they love Krishna. And they cannot tolerate someone telling that, oh, Krishna is deficient, Krishna doesn't, they just cannot tolerate. Who are you to tell these things? So what is the defect in Vidura's argument? The first defect in Vidura's argument is that the Lord is not Chinmatra, he is Chinmaya. There is a difference between Chinmatra and Chinmaya. The Lord is not pure gold, but he can change everything which comes in touch with him to gold. That is his potency. He is simply not pure gold. He is not only pure gold, but he is so potent that anything which comes in touch with him, he can change into gold. So there is no question of gold other than something gold existing in him. So what we see as not gold is simply our deficiency. Is explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Prabhupada actually quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in one purport, and he explains the same Aladini Shakti in the spiritual world, that Shakti is reflected in the material world as tapakari, as the burning potency. Prabhupada gives a very simple example. He gives the example of an electrician who uses the electricity for heating and cooling. He can have cooling effect with electricity, he can have heating effect with electricity, it doesn't matter. But he controls the electricity. So what effect he takes and what effect he gives is dependent on him. It is not dependent on the electricity itself. Prabhupada gives a very wonderful example. So the Lord is Chinmaya, he is not Chinmatra. This is the first defect. The second defect in the argument of Vidura is that the Lord's expression of deficiency is simply an act of mercy, because the Lord is not dependent on anybody else to fulfill his deficiency. I am dependent on water to fulfill my deficiency. I did not create water. Water existed, I exist. We both exist independently. But as far as Krishna is concerned, he created the jiva, he created water, he created everything. So therefore, whenever he apparently displays a deficiency, that apparent display of deficiency is simply an act of mercy. It is not deficiency. That is why the activities of the Lord is lila, and the activities of jiva is simply activities in ignorance. They are not lila. So the Lord is completely self-sufficient in fulfilling what he needs. He is Atma Rama, he is Apta Kama. He can fulfill all his needs by his own means. Jiva is also his energy, Maya is also his energy. Everything is his energy. So therefore, his so-called engagement of activities is simply his engagement with his own energy. But our engagement of activity is an activity which is dependent on others. So that is why this is a very interesting example which my Vidura gives. Because Vidura is also devotee. So in his question, he actually keeps the answer also. Very interesting how Vidura does it. He asks a question, but in that question he keeps his answer also. So he is comparing the Lord's activity to the activity of boys playing. There's a huge difference between boys playing and the Lord acting. Boys are playing. In order for their satisfaction, they are dependent on the instrument of play and other boys who participate in the play. And the other boys who participate in the play and the instrument of play, they are not manifestation from the boy who plays. They are different from the boy. So therefore, he is deficient. But the Lord is not like that. When he plays, he is simply playing with his own energy. That's why in the purport, Prabhupada says the Lord's engagement is always with his own energy. So therefore, the Lord is always self-sufficient. And the only reason why he acts is his mercy. Otherwise, he doesn't have to act. There's no reason for him to act. Now, the question comes about this particular verse where the explanation about the jiva is there. That in this verse, Prabhupada also explains that unless the jiva is overcome by avidya, there is no question of jiva forgetting his consciousness. So jiva is also Lord's potency. External energy is also Lord's potency. So one potency is able to overcome another potency. But both potencies belong to the potent Lord. So therefore, the Lord is never overcome by his own potency. The Lord is never overcome by his own potency. He is simply using his potencies. But one potency has the tendency to be overcome by another potency. The potency, the jiva has a tendency to be overcome by avidya. So therefore he is susceptible to avidya. And when he becomes overcome by avidya, then he starts experiencing a certain situation which is called creation. But within that situation, due to Lord's mercy, there is also this system of pulling himself out of this avidya. So therefore, the creation is purely an act of mercy. Purely an act of mercy for the conditioned soul who has actually turned his face away from Krishna. So this will be explained by Maitreya very nicely. He will speak verses like Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidatte Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare Kimva Punattak Charanaravindha Paraga Seva Ratiratma Labdha. He will explain very beautifully how simply by devotional service the natural attraction to the Lord can be invoked and the jiva can come out of his artificial situation of being influenced by avidya. So therefore, these questions which Vidura has put in front of Maitreya, they are very important questions. They are very defining questions. They are very fundamental questions in Vaishnava philosophy. And then Maitreya deals with these questions to clarify that what is the position of jiva, what is the position of Ishvara, and what is the position of the relationship between them. The most important aspect of this section is the analogies of Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually has explained many analogies in this section. There are as much as about 10, 12 analogies in this section. So these analogies are very, very important. So anybody who wants to understand the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, they should very carefully study these analogies in the section which Prabhupada has given in these purports, in this whole section. Very important for them to very carefully study these purports, very carefully study these analogies, because by studying these purports, by studying these analogies, one can actually understand, or one can try to understand the nature of Krishna's love for the conditioned soul. And unless we try to understand nature of Krishna's love, we can never miss Krishna. And unless we miss Krishna, we can never hanker to go back home, back to Godhead. We'll always feel satisfied here. Jo chalta hai wo chalne do. Yehi acha hai. You simply feel satisfied here. So therefore, it's a very, very, very important section where very basic and fundamental Vaishnava philosophy is being explored in this conversation between these two great souls, Vidura and Maitreya, for our benefit. So, and Prabhupada has given brilliant purports. Of course, always Prabhupada's purports are brilliant. But when Prabhupada really wants to establish Krishna, then it becomes very energetic. Because this is why the Vaishnava Acharyas come. They come to establish Krishna's position. They come to establish Krishna's greatness. So when that opportunity comes, then they go with full force. They unleash their entire expertise in full force. So therefore, a sincere student of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam may well read this section multiple times, again and again, try to understand the very nature of explanation which Prabhupada gives. A very, very important section. We are very fortunate that we are able to discuss this section, and then we are trying to understand this section. Please try to read this section again and again in order to understand the very, very important and basic concepts of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Okay, we'll stop here. Let's see if some questions, comments. Yes, Prabhuji.
What the Mayavad is speaking about the Krishna Lila and Gora Lila?
And they don't speak so much about Gaur Leela because half of the Mayavadis don't even know that Mahaprabhu exists. They speak more about Krishna Leela. They consider these explanations as allegoric. Allegory means that you use a trope to explain a concept. Like for example, for them, Krishna simply means accomplished soul. Okay. So accomplished soul is represented by Krishna. It's like that. So they think that everything stands for everything else. So there's no actual Krishna, there's no actual Leela. It's just that everything is meant to show everything else. It's like that. Their whole explanation is like that. That's why Mahaprabhu says that Mayavada Bhashya Sunile Haya Sarvanash. That one's consciousness is completely destroyed and polluted simply by hearing Mayavada explanation. So that's how they consider these things. They consider the whole Bhagavatam simply as an allegory. They don't consider Bhagavatam as a reality. They think that it's just a story which is there, which is told to explain a certain concepts. So for them, jnana is supreme. That when they come in knowledge that I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, then nothing matters. All these things don't matter. So in order to come to that stage that I am Brahman, stories are very useful according to them. Because if you hear a story, you are naturally interested. If you hear philosophy, you are not so interested. So therefore, they think that these things are very useful because they can catch the attention of the Brahman or the Jiva who is in illusion. So once the attention is caught through these stories, then engage in meditation, then go and merge in Brahman. This is how they try to analyze these things. For them, bhakti is an avidyā, it is not prayojana. Bhakti is avidyā and jnana is prayojana. So that's why they consider bhakti as vyavaharika, transactional. Is useful to control the mind. It's a transactional tool to control the mind. That's how they try to explain. Very poisonous explanation. Very poisonous explanation. Yes, please.
What is the destination of Mayavadis? Because
They'll go to hell. They'll go to hell.
Any reference as you can?
Prabhupada said Mayavadis go to hell. In fact, Madhvacharya says that Vaishnavas don't criticize Mayavadi, they will also go to hell. So if you are a Vaishnava, you are supposed to criticize Mayavadi. If you don't criticize Mayavadi, you will also go to hell. This is what Madhvacharya says. Our Vaishnavacharya is very strict about Mayavad. They don't want to listen to Mayavad. Once Janvas Prabhu explained one incident that those times my wife used to give ladies class. That ladies' time, my wife also used to give class. Now she stopped. But those times she used to give class. And one class was about Mayavadis. Prabhupada was bashing Mayavadis left, right, and center in the purport. So my wife also was bashing Mayavadis left, right, and center. And then one devotee, he asked, why can't we be very friendly with Mayavadis? Why can't we show some love to them? Why we have to bash them up? Like this. So then my wife said, this is what Prabhupada does, so this is how we are supposed to do. Then this became a little bit of a confrontation. So then Janvas Prabhu intervened. And then he said that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was going in Kolkata in a road along with his disciples. And opposite side, one big Mayavada guru was coming along with his disciples. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples pointed out, this guy is coming, he's some big Mayavada guru, he's this so-and-so. Immediately, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur crossed the road, caught him and gave him one good slap. And then he asked him, why are you telling that there is no Krishna? Why do you want to deny the presence of Krishna? So Janyas Prabhu told this pastime. And he was saying that our acharyas not only philosophically slapped Mayavadis, they also physically slapped Mayavadis. Anyway, I am not encouraging violence against Mayavadis. But I am saying that, see, Mayavadis are like prostitutes. Okay? They say everybody is Krishna. Like a prostitute says everybody is my husband. Okay? It's a prostitute. A prostitute basically sees every man is my husband. So like that, Mayavadis say everybody is Krishna. They're like prostitutes. Vaishnavas are like chaste women. They only have one husband. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabhritya. A chaste woman can never accept a prostitute. Impossible for a chaste woman to accept a prostitute. And a chaste woman will always criticize a prostitute because that's the nature of chaste woman. So we have to criticize Mayavadis. This is our nature. We have to criticize them. If we don't criticize them, Madhvacharya says we will go to hell. And we should have no doubt Mayavadis go to hell.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your class. You explained two terms, very beautiful terms, Chinmaya and Chinmatra. Of course, we had heard Chinmaya. I had not heard this term Chinmatra before.
It's there in the Bhagavatam. It's there, Where is that? Brahman katham bhagavatas chinmatrasya vikarinaha. This is Vidra's question. Chinmatrasya. He twisted the word. Because this is the nature of Mayavadis. They twist everything. So Vidra wanted to make fun of Mayavadis. So he also twisted the word. It's a chinmatrasya vikarinaha. So the Lord is Chinmaya, he is not Chinmatra.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you for your wonderful class. So, Prabhuji, you mentioned this story, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati before. So you told it twice.
Yeah.
So my question is, you told that we have to preach boldly against Abad. So a few months ago, our stalwart devotee, you know the name, Amoglila Babu, he preached Jatamat Tatapat, but our authority punished him. So please discuss about this.
See, the point is how you have to understand that how Prabhupada condemned Mayavadis. Okay? See, if you see Prabhupada's purports, okay, Prabhupada condemned Mayavadis, Prabhupada condemned Nirvisheshavadis, Prabhupada condemned these Mimamsakas, Prabhupada condemned the Vaisheshikavadis, Prabhupada condemned the Yogavadis, and Prabhupada condemned the Sankhya-vadis. Prabhupada condemned all of them in his purport, but he never named them. You see, he condemned all of them, but he never took names, right? So, you just condemn them without taking name. Because you're just condemning a philosophy. Nobody can dispute with that. Like, Prabhupada says that if you take ticket to Bombay, you'll go to Bombay, you'll not go to Delhi. What jatomat tatapat? What nonsense is this? How can it happen? You'll take ticket to Bombay, you'll go to Delhi. It's a very fact. It's a fact that, if you take ticket to Bombay, you have to go to Bombay. You cannot go to Delhi. Can anybody refute this? Can you take a ticket and then sit in the train going to Bombay and then tell the TTR, take me to Delhi? Whatever train, it goes the same place. Take me to Delhi, this is my philosophy. Take me to Delhi. Possible? Either you will be called a madman, or police will come and he will arrest you for creating disturbance. So, I mean, I also criticize Mayavadis. I just criticize the philosophy. Yes.
Krishna, Prabhuji, what is the answer to this last question? That if you say Krishna exists, then he is either incompetent supervisor, or if you say Krishna exists, then he is either incompetent supervisor or he does not exist. Like, to this question.
So the answer to that question is that the suffering of the jiva is in his imagination only. Maitreya gives a very wonderful answer, analogy. He says that it is like seeing your head cut off. Can you see your head cut off? Why? If your head is cut off, you cannot see. But you can see your head cut off. Where you can see it? You can actually see it in a dream. And you can experience the same misery of your head getting cut off by seeing it in the dream. When you see your head cut off in the dream, in a dream your head is cut off and it is hanging in front of you, blood is coming out. You can experience that misery. Oh, my head is cut off. Who is that in front of me? You can experience that misery. But you are in dream. As long as you are in the dream, that experience of misery is a reality. It is not a reality. It's not mithya. It's not jagat mithya. It is a temporary reality as long as you are in the dream. That is why when in the Bhagavatam, in the first sloka, when creation is explained, it's explained as tejo vari mritam yata vinimayo yatra trisarko amrusha. The word amrusha proper translates as almost factual. If you read the translation of amrusha, proper says almost factual. Why he says almost factual? Because what is fact should be eternally a fact. But material energy is eternal, material manifestation is not eternal. So therefore it is almost a fact. It's amrusha, it's almost a fact. So this is how Vaishnava Acharyas have explained creation. Creation is almost a fact because as long as you exist within it and don't realize Krishna's love, misery is a fact for you. The moment you realize Krishna's love, that same misery becomes the source of greatest pleasure. You see Bhagavatam. How did Parikshit get cursed? Because he was thirsty, he was hungry, and he didn't get water from Swami Krishi, so he put snake on him, and Shringi came and cursed him. Now for 7 days he is thirsty, he is hungry, he is not sleeping. He is going through that same experience which actually disturbed him. Right? He is not going through a different experience. He is going through the same experience which disturbed him. And now he is experiencing great bliss. He is saying, don't stop. He is not telling that even in Guinness Book of World Record, when you do some things, they give you a break. Like, you did something for so many hours which nobody has done, right? But officially you can take some break. You can take some 5 minutes, some rules is there. 5 minutes, 10 minutes break you can take, you can pass urine, you can drink whatever, you can do something. It's allowed. But with Maitreya and with Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami, they didn't take a water break, they didn't take a recess to go to toilet. As sitting and talking. Katha sudhayam upasamprayogam. The very experience which caused him misery, the same experience has become the medium for experiencing bliss. You understand? So that's the answer. That he is experiencing misery, that's not due to lack of supervision, that is simply due to lack of understanding of the supervision. The moment he understands the nature of the supervision, then there is no more misery. That's what is said in the Upanishad also. That da suparno sayuja sakaya, in that Upanishadic statement, is also said that the moment this bird which is suffering, when he turns his face towards the bird who is watching, then both of them will just simply fly out from the tree and reach their actual destination. So that's the answer to that question. So that's explained by asesha sanklesha samam vidatte gunanuvada shravanam murare. Simply by hearing and chanting the holy name, unlimited amount of miseries which the jiva is supposed to experience, it can be extinguished in no time. Asesha sanklesha samam vidatte gunanuvada shravanam murare. Then what to speak of those who have the natural attraction towards Krishna? Kimva punatak charanaravinda paraga seva ratiratma labdha. When that atma labdha rati, when that natural attraction, rati means attraction, and it is atma labdha, it is there within the jiva, is not purchased from outside, is there within the jiva, and when that is evoked, then what to speak of any misery? What to speak of any misery? He says rati rasa. He explains that the experience which comes after it is rati rasa. Rati rasa means that the amorous pastimes which comes out of the attraction between the jiva and Krishna. It is a festival of attraction. That's what it leads to. Very beautiful explanation. Maitreya's explanation is there, is going to come. Very, very beautiful explanation. Very precise and very beautiful explanation. Of course, you can enjoy it as we go more and more verses. You can enjoy all that. Okay, we'll stop here. Time is up. Kṣetrajña-śakti Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Śrīla Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much.